country, nestled amongst the hills and dales, lived a cute little bunny named Beeboo. He had soft white fur, long floppy ears, and a twitchy nose that was always sniffing out adventure. One day, while hopping around his backyard, Beeboo came across a small hole hidden beneath some bushes. His curiosity got the better of him, and he couldn't help but take a peek inside. The bluebird warned Beeboo that he would have to face 3 fun challenges along the way, each designed to test his wit, bravery, and kindness. Only by overcoming these challenges could he collect the gems and save the garden. But before they could enter the caverns, they had to cross a field of magical floating crystals. The third and final challenge took them to the candy garden, a place where lollipop flowers bloomed and chocolate streams flowed. The garden erupted in cheers as the wishing star's magic rejuvenated the land. Flowers bloomed, animals came out of hiding, and everyone celebrated Beeboo's bravery. The bluebird flew down onto Beeboo's head and said, "You have shown great courage, kindness, and quick thinking throughout your adventures. You truly are a hero." Beeboo blushed at the praise, but he knew he had only done what he had to. Saving the garden had been a team effort, and he couldn't have done it without the help of his new friends. From that day forward, Beeboo continued to visit the magical garden whenever he could. He loved spending time with the talking animals, walking across the bridge of floating bubbles, collecting candy flowers with his friends. And so, thanks to the bravery of a little bunny who wasn't afraid to be different, the magical garden remained a place of joy and wonder forever. But this seemingly delightful area was actually a trap laid by the sorcerer, a grumpy old wizard who hated happiness. The sorcerer challenged Beeboo to a magical duel, but he didn't want to fight fairly. Instead, he planned to use dark magic to control Beeboo's mind and make him give up. However, the bluebird noticed what the sorcerer was trying to do, and she warned Beeboo just in time. He stood firm, focusing on his desire to save the wishing star and bring joy back to the garden. Although scared, Beeboo refused to let the sorcerer win. Seeing Beeboo's unwavering determination, the other creatures in the garden rallied to his side. The river turned into a torrent. The lollipop flowers bloomed into giant fireworks, and the trees formed a protective circle around Beeboo and the bluebird. The sorcerer tried his best to fight back, but the combined powers of the garden were too strong for him. He was blasted away, defeated. With the sorcerer gone, the garden was safe once more. Beeboo and the bluebird collected the 3rd gem and raced back to the wishing star. These crystals were not just beautiful to look at, they were also extremely dangerous. If Beeboo stepped on them, they would shatter, and the sharp shards could cut his paws. To make things even trickier, the crystals were constantly moving around, making it seem like a never-ending field. However, the bluebird noticed something peculiar. Every time she flapped her wings, the crystals would momentarily freeze in their tracks. With this realization, she came up with a plan. She told Beeboo to stand still while she flew around him in a circle, creating mini whirlwinds that would push the crystals aside, forming a path for them to walk on. Working together, Beeboo and the bluebird successfully navigated the field of floating crystals. And once inside the cavern, they saw the 2nd gem resting on a pedestal. Just as they reached for it, though, a giant spider made of living crystals scuttled down from the ceiling. "Stop right there," it hissed. "If you want the gem, you'll have to defeat me in a game of wits."
Ow.
The spider challenged Beeboo to a series of mental puzzles, but luckily Beeboo was a quick learner, and he solved them all with ease. Impressed by his intelligence, the crystal spider allowed him to take the gem and continue his quest. With the bluebird's help, he set off on his quest. Although nervous, Beeboo knew he had to try. To his surprise, it wasn't a dark and scary hole at all. Instead, it was a magical doorway to a secret garden. Before Beeboo could ask any questions, the bluebird hopped down and explained that the garden was in danger. The magical wishing star, which kept the garden alive with its mystical powers, was fading away. As Beeboo looked around in amazement, he realized that the garden was filled with friendly talking creatures just like him, and the only way to save it was to find 3 enchanted gems hidden in different parts of the garden. These gems were said to hold powerful magic that could revive the star and bring the garden back to life. But that's not all. There were giggling mushrooms, wise old trees, and even a family of singing hedgehogs. "Welcome to our humble abode," said a cheerful bluebird that landed on Beeboo's head. We've been expecting you. But the journey to find the gems would not be easy. The first challenge took them deep into the Whispering Woods, where they came across a beautiful crystal-clear lake. On its surface floated a giant bubble that served as a bridge over the water. But here's the catch. It was a bridge of floating bubbles. As Beeboo stepped onto the bubble bridge, it started to wobble and shake, threatening to collapse and send him tumbling into the lake. The bluebird perched on Beeboo's head, guiding him with soft, encouraging words. "Be brave, little friend," she chirped. "Take a deep breath and trust in yourself." Taking the bluebird's advice, Beeboo calmed down and focused on finding his balance. Slowly but surely, he began to walk more steadily on the bubble bridge. Just when he thought he'd made it, though, the bubble bridge started to shake again, this time violently. It was a trick played by the mischievous bubble dragon who lived in the lake. "Don't be scared, little one," said the dragon, emerging from the water with a playful grin. "All I want is for you to solve my riddle, and then I'll let you pass." The riddle was this: I have cities, but no houses. I have mountains, but no trees. I have water, but no fish. What am I? After thinking hard for a moment, Beeboo finally figured it out. "You are a map," he exclaimed. The dragon was impressed. Not only had Beeboo solved the riddle correctly, but he'd done so without panicking or getting upset. The dragon liked his spirit. So with a final flourish, he let Beeboo pass the bridge of floating bubbles and continue on his quest. The second challenge led Beeboo and the bluebird to the Crystal Caverns, a place filled with sparkling quartz formations that shimmered in all colors of the rainbow. By now, Beeboo was feeling pretty tired. But the bluebird reminded him that they still had one last challenge to overcome. If they were to save the wishing star, they dropped all 3 gems right into the star's center and watched in amazement as it began to glow brighter than ever before. And everyone was so happy because Beeboo saved the garden. Though that's it for today, kids. I wish you a wonderful night. Deep